All right, we are live. Can everybody see me and hear me? Can you guys see the screen, see the overlay? Everything good? How we looking? Right. Okay. Welcome aboard, everybody. Already got 50 people in here. Good to see everybody. Okay. So, hey, Michael. Oh, boy. So, I'll give people a couple minutes to gather up here, but we're going to get underway here pretty quickly. Training camp is indeed underway. Hey, Eddie, how you doing? I believe we're a week away from the first preseason game, which is going to be the Hall of Fame game. So we're close. We're really close now. We're a week away. I think the mock game is coming up really soon here. So that'll give us a lot to talk about too. I'm not going to the mock game, I don't think. But all that stuff gets reported and it might even get streamed this year, so we'll all get to know what happens in it. Um, yeah, I got definitely a lot of fun stuff coming up. Tomorrow morning, there's going to be another prediction video, but we're pretty much moving past that stuff now. Now that we're actually getting some stuff to talk about. Okay, so I see a lot of people in the chat. Thank you everybody for showing up here. Are you planning on doing a cornerback ranking tier list? Probably not. Those videos were fun, but they were just a way to kill the dead period of the off season. And I mean, they kind of resonated with people, but not really. So I don't think I'm gonna do that. That's kind of hard too, by the way. That's like a tough position. There are tougher positions. That's really not easy to do. No problem, Ian. What's up, everybody? Do you think we're going to acquire D lineman? I'd be really weird if we didn't, especially if Jaron Reed's going to play nose tackle. I would expect us to bring in maybe Shelby, but there are guys out there that I think are about as good as Shelby. Guys like Akeem Hicks, like Matt Ioannidis. Ioannidis, by the way, I don't know why that guy's still a free agent. I have no idea why. He was really good last time he played in a 3-4. And there's a couple other guys as well whose names I'm forgetting. There was like a guy who was a Steeler. What was his name? Wormley? I think he's still out there. Chris Wormley. There are a lot of good rotational defensive linemen that are going to be, in my estimation, about as good as Actually, let me take that back. I think they're better than Mario Edwards. And at this point, they can't be costing that much. You can't tell me these guys are going to be looking for like 6 mil at this point in the offseason. Yeah, that's fine, Kyle. David Pugh, thank you for the 9.99 super chat. And let's give it 1 minute here to see if the alert box still works. No reason why it shouldn't. Yes. It is Mosu who gets there. So $9.99 is basically $10, and a $10 donation means the $10 GIF, which is the Uchenna Nwosu GIF. Thank you. Thanks for the late night stream. For me, anyways, I live in Texas, so 9:15 here. What's your thoughts on Spoon and how this makes him and the Hawks look? Anyway, thank you, man. Well, I think Spoon is a phenomenal man corner prospect. Like, it's rare that you see a cornerback prospect this good in man coverage. And as long as we're going to put him in man coverage situations, I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to be really special in that capacity. If we continue to run zone, which we have traditionally done under Carroll, then I don't like it. Then I don't like it so much. If you were going to do that, just get Christian Gonzalez, who's better in zone. But we're going to need to see, because here's the thing, guys. We draft Witherspoon, who's a man corner. We have Tariq Woolen, who I think will be better in man than zone. And then we also signed Julian Love, who was on the Giants last year, who ran man defense more than anyone else. So clearly, we're trying to build towards being able to implement a man-based scheme. So if we don't implement a man-based cover scheme, that's really weird. That doesn't just contradict the Witherspoon's drafting, it contradicts a lot of stuff. As for what is going on right now with Witherspoon, what they are negotiating over is so petty, I can't believe he's willing to miss practice over it. And I know you can go the other way with it too. I know you could say the opposite. You could say, like, well, why are the Seahawks willing to let him miss practice over it? You could go either way with it. But my thing is this. If the Seahawks, I'm assuming what's going on here is the Seahawks are saying, hey, look, if we bend our rules for Witherspoon, we're going to have to bend the rules for everybody. So we're not going to let him think he's going to step outside of our process just because he was the number 5 overall pick. He's still a rookie. He still just got here. He's not a quarterback. He's not even an edge rusher. He's a cornerback, and he kind of needs to get in line here, and this is a very important time for him. So I don't think it makes him look particularly good. Every other player in the NFL right now who got drafted has signed their contract. He's the only one. So you can't. What is this, a situation where he's just the one guy who's getting treated unfairly? I doubt it. And I'm going to repeat this. This is not about money. This is not about. Um, this is not about how much money he gets. This is not about the guarantees. This is not about length. This is just about whether or not he gets paid, how much money he gets paid now, and how much money he gets paid in a year. So the only reason why he individually would be really, really hurt over not getting all of his money or most of his money now would be if he wants to go out and buy a bunch of really expensive stuff right now, which, I mean, sorry that we're making you earn it a little bit, you know? I don't have a lot of tolerance for that. I don't have a lot of patience for that. Did you ever figure out any reason why we let Ryan Neal go for 2 million? I feel like we just feel I maybe we just felt like he was never going to get to play because we signed Julian Love. That's all I got. We must have just felt like he was never going to play. That's the only thing I can think of. And maybe but he said he didn't ask out is the thing, actually, now that I think about it. So you can't even say that. That's the one move we made this offseason that actually, like, I didn't like. Everything else was at least okay. Everything else was understandable. I got no real issue with most of it, but the Ryan Neal thing, like that, Ryan Neal's really good. Yeah, exactly. Derek Hall's contract is smaller. Like, look at Charbonnet. Charbonnet got his contract yesterday. We saw the details today. 85% of it is up front, or 85% of the guarantees up front, right? But that contract is very small, so it's like $2 million guaranteed total. Witherspoon went number 5 overall, so his guarantees are a lot bigger, so he gets a lower percentage guaranteed, but it's still way more money. It is going to be interesting who plays and who sits if everyone in the secondary is healthy. Maybe they trade a cornerback. I feel like Trey Brown kind of needs to get traded. He's never going to get to play here, and he's not a bad player. Yeah, if Spoon isn't in here by the weekend, I think we've got a real problem. Like right now, it's just kind of a weird thing. It's not really a problem yet, but if we get to the weekend and he hasn't signed yet, I think we got a problem. Yeah, I like Trey Brown, but there's no room for him anymore. I don't know what you could get for him, but it doesn't really matter. Austin, thank you for the member message. Member for 32 months. Can't wait for the season. I like our future. Things are trending in a pretty good direction, I think. Hey, Jeff, how you doing? What's Trey Brown's value? A sixth or seventh? Probably somewhere around there. You're basically doing it to clear a roster spot and a little bit of salary space. You're not really doing it to get a big asset back, but nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you do that. We made a pick that ended up being pretty decent. It just didn't work out with the way things went. We didn't think Tariq Woolen was going to be this good this fast. The Fun Family, please stop spamming. What's up with Witherspoon? I mean, nothing new. We haven't gotten any new... No, the Fun Family. I'm serious. Stop spamming. Okay, but anyway, I just talked about it, but we don't have any new information. It's all the same stuff. Yeah, maybe his manager's giving him bad advice. I guess that's possible. Like, we certainly know they do that stuff. Like, I think most of these players, if you ask them about salary cap stuff and money stuff, they would just be like, ask my agent. So I guess that's very possible. Like, if a Denver reporter asked Russell Wilson about his contract, he would probably just say, like, go talk to my agent. That's not really anything that I care about to talk about because I'm just the player. Do you think the Chiefs would really trade Chris Jones to Seattle? I think they'd trade him anywhere that's not within the division if they can't come to an agreement with him. Yeah, it is, Jeff. That is true. He is holding out because he wants more money now versus in a year. Basically, you have your guaranteed money, but some of it gets paid now and some of it gets paid next year. So he just wants more now. Oh, Kobe might actually start out the season on the bench. How does that situation affect the cap? It doesn't. It doesn't affect that cap at all. It doesn't affect the cap whatsoever. What it affects is the Seahawks have a way in which they do things, and they don't want to bend their rules for any player. Because if they bend it for one, they're going to have to bend it for somebody else. Sign Clowney or Sue. I don't think we need Clowney at this point. I don't think we need Clowney, and I don't like Sue. I don't want Sue. Like, I just don't want to root for that guy. I'm sorry. I draw the line at guys like Sue. I'll put up with some stuff, but I don't want to root for a guy like Sue. First of all, I'm going to have to learn how to pronounce his first name if we sign him, which I don't want to do. Let's see here. Somebody asked about JSN. Do you think JSN is the steal of the draft at 20? Well, that's a difficult one to answer, and I don't know why the chat stopped updating all of a sudden. What the heck? Why did the chat on screen stop updating? It was working. Whatever. Anyway, actually, I kind of feel like the steal of the draft might end up being Christian Gonzalez. Because that was a guy who I expected to be a top 5 pick. I guess he fell because of confidence reasons. I gotta believe he can bounce back from that. But JSN, I guess he's up there. David Pugh, thank you for the $9.99. Is it possible that his agent is the one pushing for more money up front so that they can get more money now? Not sure how they structure the contract for the rookies. Just sounds like a snake agent. That's probably that's probably what it is. It's probably the agent, but the agent works for Spoon. And Spoon, I'm sure Witherspoon is aware of the fact that he's missing out on training camp time. And he needs to be able to step in and say, hey, no, I'm not missing training camp time. At the end of the day, I'm a rookie. What I get is what I get. Brendan, with the news Jalen Carter is wrecking shop in camp, are you regretting the Spoon pick? I don't care that much about training camp stuff, guys. And I really want to be firm here. I want to be very firm about this. We did not pass on Jalen Carter because we thought he was bad at football. All right? And I'm sorry about the chat freezing above my head. I have no idea why I did that. It was working. Everything was fine. And just all of a sudden, it's decided to freeze up on me. It hasn't frozen up in the Stream Elements page. God, this is weird. Maybe Stream Elements is having problems. But we did not pass on Jalen Carter because we thought he wasn't good at football. Him being good on a football field is not surprising. So understand the reason why we passed on him is because 95% probably because we just felt like we couldn't take the risk. There was something in his ledger that we just couldn't get behind. I really want your opinion about us getting Dylan Morris. I'm not a fan. I don't think he was good in college, so I don't know how he'd be good in the pros. How often does a quarterback suck in college and then be good in the pros? Like, I guess they're kind of hoping that happens with Anthony Richardson. JSN is already a better route runner than DK. Yeah, he is. He is, Yeti. I mean, JSN's already one of the better route runners in the league. No shame in that. That's kind of his thing. Also, why take the risk at 5 when you're more than likely ain't going to see a pick that high anytime soon? Well, here's my other thing I want to say here. Everything you do in the draft is a risk, with the exception of taking guys like Andrew Luck or Trevor Lawrence. Everything you do in the draft is some kind of risk. Some risks are different than other risks, but don't think anything is a sure thing. Like, Witherspoon's not a sure thing either. But his bad potential futures are different than Jalen Carter's bad potential futures. So, sometimes people say things like that. They're like, okay, we did this because we didn't want to take the risk. The reality is pretty much everything that a person does when they're making decisions for an NFL team, it's always some kind of risk. Are we attempting to trailblaze an undersized 3-4 defense with no real nose tackles and insane safety in the box frequency, speed versus size? There is kind of a movement in the modern NFL to get smaller players, right? Guys who can move quicker. Like, you don't see the 400-pound nose tackles very much anymore. So maybe, I think we're taking it a little too far. Like, Jaron Reed at nose tackle is, I don't know. That's tough for me to believe that's going to work out particularly well. Okay. We got 171 people in the chat right now. So thank you everybody for coming out. I'm going to go through my rigmarole real quick. This is going to be a Seahawks stream. We're just going to talk about stuff for maybe an hour, maybe 90 minutes. I don't know exactly. But we're going to go and talk about some early training camp stuff, talk about some of the things that people are saying, talk about the moves the team might make and have already made. Please like the stream if you haven't already. That's one way you can help out. Helps with the algorithm, helps a ton, helps the channel more than you will ever know. So if you haven't already, please like the stream. And there are some other things you can do as well beyond just that. If you look over to the left, on the left side of the screen, you can see we have some goals for the stream and for the month. We've already hit the sub goal for July. I set a really low subscriber goal, which we've already cleared. 13,616 subs so far. So if you're not subbed up and you like the content, click the sub button. You'll get probably multiple videos a day. and probably a good chunk of streams as we move closer and closer to the season. You can also, if you want to go beyond even that, there are some ways you can support financially directly. You can become a channel member. We are currently sitting at 115 channel members. We lost a few over the last few months when there hasn't been a lot going on, but most people stayed on. We're still at 115. Click the join button down below to become a channel member for $2, $5, or $15 a month, depending on what level of member you want to be. I have, by the way, updated the members list that will appear in the intro of my daily videos going forward, as well as going forward video descriptions. Finally got around to updating that. You can also donate via Super Chat. You can click the $ next to the chat. You can tip, do exclamation point tip in the chat, and click the link that comes up, or click the link at the top of the description. I also have a Patreon now. If none of those ways work for you, but you want to find some way to contribute, click the Patreon link down below in the video description. We got like 4 people over there so far. It's just another way in case some people can't super chat or tip because they live in the wrong country or whatever. But those are the main ways to help out, and thank you. Kevin Mullen, thank you for the $1.99. Is Vita Vea a target for you at nose tackle and compensation? I'm pretty sure the Bucks already restructured Vita Vea, so they can't really trade him. And by the way, that also goes for DeForest Buckner. Some people are saying we could trade for DeForest Buckner and the Colts would only have a little bit of dead money. The thing is, they could have traded him months ago with no dead money and they chose to restructure. So it'd be weird for them to do it now. Like, if they were going to do it, they should have done it before they restructured him or not restructured at all. So, to me, those ones are going to be tough. Would it be possible to trade for Chris Jones? Yeah, it's possible. I'm not really sure if I'm 100% on board with it. Why didn't the Colts trade him? Aren't they in a full rebuild? I think the Eagles have made all these teams think... I think that the Eagles turning things around so quickly have made all these teams think, hey, we could do that. We could turn it around in one off season. Because the Eagles were legitimately maybe the worst team in the league 2 years ago. And then a year ago, they made the playoffs. And then last year, they probably should have won the Super Bowl. So teams are looking at the Eagles and being like, hey, if the Eagles can do it, we can do it too. We don't need to blow it up. And I think way too many teams think they could be the next Eagles, when we all know it's not that easy. What about Chase Young? There was a lot of reports that the Hawks were the favorites to trade for him. I don't know what Chase Young would do on this team at this point. Like, we just extended Nwosu. We just drafted Mafe and Hall, and Darrell Taylor might be on this team for another 2 years because of his contract. Like, well, I don't think we need more edge stuff. Not really. How far do you think our defense will take us this season? I mean, I think we're going to have a below average defense, but it's going to be better than last year. It's good enough for us to win a lot of games. The Eagles did have some luck for them to get back to being a championship contender, like the Titans being dumb enough to trade A.J. Brown. Oh, yeah, sure, but there are 32 teams out there, right, guy? Like, there's always going to be at least a couple teams that are willing to do dumb stuff to make it easier for smart teams to get better. Austin, yeah, I don't think we are a great team yet, so I'm not sure about Chris Jones' trade. It's tough. I mean, if we did it, I would be excited. But at the same time, it's like, I understand. Like, honestly, if we trade for Chris Jones, are we better than the Niners? I'm not convinced. And if we're going to make a trade like that, I better be 100% sure we're going to win the division, or 99% sure, or whatever. And I'm not even sure I would be 50% sure if we got Chris Jones, we would win the division. Kevin Mullen, thank you for the $1.99. What about defensive tackle Leonard Williams, New York Giants, 1 year left? Would the Giants do that? Because they're trying to win this year. They're going for it. It's not a bad idea. I like Leonard Williams, but I don't know if the Giants would be willing to do that. If we trade for Jones, we are better than the Niners. Okay, well, the Niners would still have a better defense because the Niners might have the best defense in the league. So they would be better on defense still by a pretty significant amount. We would be better on offense, but not by that much, right? I love Brendan Nelson. Please stop spamming the chat. And we would have better special teams because we've invested heavily into our special teams. They would have better coaching, though, right? I don't know. I'm not convinced. News that Derek Hall is kicking butt in camp. He may be a starter. Are you okay with that? It's way too early for a guy like Derek Hall, who is somewhat raw, by the way. I don't buy it. I'm not buying it. Maffei's been in the league a year and played fairly decently last year. Like, he has a huge head start. Huge head start over Derek Hall. I don't think that's going to happen. If it does happen, I don't know. That would concern me about where Maffei is. I don't see how the Niners' D would be significantly better than ours if we get Jones at all. They might have the best defense in the league, Kyle. If we get Chris Jones, are we really going from middle of the league to top? I'm not buying it. I'm not convinced. Trey Brown or Michael Jackson to Dolphins after Ramsey injury. Apparently the Ramsey injury isn't that bad. Isn't he only going to miss like a month and a half? Or was it a month and a half of the season? Seahawks, welcome to the channel. Thank you for the sub. David Pugh, thank you for the $1.99. Penny Hart used to kick butt in training camp. Yeah, guys, think about this for a second. Think about this for a second. Last year, we heard reports from Broncos training camp about how good Wilson looked and how Nathaniel Hackett had designed an offense specifically around Wilson's exact skill set. It was like this perfect, sculpted offense exactly for Wilson's abilities. And what happened? Was that the case? Wilson played terrible. The offense wasn't good at all. Like, I remember DJ Jones came out after a training camp session and was like, man, I saw Wilson today doing things I ain't never seen no quarterback do before in my life. Like he was flying around like Iron Man out there or something. So, stuff gets said in training camp. Doesn't mean it's actually going to mean anything when the season starts. You're giving too much credit to the Niners? Well, who has a better defense than the Niners? Who has a better defense than the 49ers? Maybe the Eagles? Is that it? Don't tell me the Broncos, by the way. The Broncos have Vance Joseph as their DC. So not the Broncos. Tan fam, the Broncos have some weapons. They don't have over-the-top weapons, but their weapons are fine. Niners corners aren't that good. They don't need to be that good. They weren't that good last year. Yeah, they did trade Bradley Chubb last year. They were still good after he got traded, though. But I don't think the Broncos' defense will be that good this year. At least it won't be as good as it was for most of last season. No, they traded Chubb to the Dolphins. Do you think Charles Cross can become elite this year? No. I think he'll be really good, and maybe he'll be elite next year, but not this year. Don't know if this was said already, but what are your thoughts on Pete saying that Devin will be competing with Kobe Bryant at nickel? I mean, that makes sense. My ideal would be Kobe Bryant. I'm sorry. Witherspoon plays nickel on nickel downs and then moves outside on base. Raiders offered 5 years, $88.5 million for Josh Jacobs. Well, what is he waiting for? What is he waiting for? He's a running back. Saquon got like barely over 12% of that. What is he waiting for if he got offered that? We sacked Mahomes. Eagles did not. What's your point? 1 second, guys. I need to get my water. Are the Jets loaded though? If Dalvin Cook signs with the Jets, do you think they're a Super Bowl contender? No. I don't think a running back moves the needle. Either they're Super Bowl contenders now or they're not. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still surprised the Broncos haven't signed Dalvin Cook yet, by the way. To me, that's a slam dunk. Okay, I'm going to turn off the visibility of the chat because unfortunately it's not working and it's probably doing more harm than good. Take on the Lance Purdy Darnold battle. I think you just either trade Trey Lance or you play him. Unless Shanahan really, really hates him. And by the way, if that's the case, then trade him. Dalvin Cook is expected to sign with the Jets this weekend. Okay. So the Broncos are really going to bet everything on Javonte Williams, huh? What's Lance worth? Not a lot, but get him out of there. Just get him out of there if you're not going to use him. Okay, now I brought the chat back and it's just blank. Broncos rolling with Pirine and Williams. Yeah, the thing is, Williams is coming off a massive injury. He might not even be ready for week 1. Do you believe in Gino to repeat what he did last year? Oh, I don't. If he doesn't, that would be really, really weird. Like, we have given him more to work with than he had last year. He's got better receivers, got the same tight ends. Offensive line should be better by default. Running backs should be better just because everybody got hurt last year. Like, if he isn't just as good or better, then that's really weird. Okay, Nathan, okay. So I want to talk about this real quick. Would you trade Mike Jackson, Trey Brown, Daryl Taylor, D. Eskridge, 2 first-round picks for Chris Jones? First of all, probably, I guess. But this is like a public service announcement to everybody out there. Stop putting guys like D. Eskridge and DJ Dallas and Isaiah Dunn into Chris Jones trades. Stop doing that. It's goofy. Okay, those guys do not move the needle for a team for the Chiefs. The Chiefs are not looking at a trade and being like, you know what, we weren't going to do the trade, but then you threw in DJ Dallas or then you threw in D. Eskridge. Now we got to do it. Those players have zero trade value. All right? Eskridge and Dallas are just warm bodies. Any team in the NFL would just be like, I'll go get somebody off the street. And he's just as good as DJ Dallas or Dwayne Eskridge. This is not basketball. In basketball, you do stuff like that, right? Because you need the salaries to match, right? So you put garbage players into big trades because you want the salaries to match. I'm seeing so many people in my comments being like, hey, Does this make sense as a Chris Jones trade? And then they have like 800 players in the trade, including like our entire bench, and it's like, stop. Those guys have no value. The players that we could trade that have value are like Mike Jackson, Trey Brown, and those guys only have a little bit of value. And then Daryl Taylor. Hey, Ethan. Okay, well, I can't figure out how to get the stupid chat to work, so I'm just going to turn it off for now. Sorry, guys. Maybe it's a Stream Elements problem. I'll work on it later. Maybe Fant, but not to the Chiefs. The Chiefs don't want Fant. The Chiefs already have the best tight end in the league. Noah Fant and 2 first-rounders for Chiefs Jones. I would probably be willing to do that, but I don't think the Chiefs would. All right. Enough of that. I don't think the Seahawks are going to be trading anyone. I think they stand pat unless they have some major injury issues. I think we're going to sign somebody, but yeah, I don't think we're going to do any kind of trade. I think we're going to sign a defensive lineman, but it won't be a trade. Olu getting a fair shot to start. I saw that mask. Good news. I mean, ideally, the only thing that really matters is that whoever wins is the guy who deserves it. Doesn't really matter who it is. Tyler Lockett for Chris Jones. The Chiefs need a receiver. They don't need a receiver that bad. Well, he's been spamming the chat for like the last half hour, and I've been trying to deal with it, but no. And also, we just extended Lockett. I'm pretty sure trading him would not work. And also, we just restructured Lockett. I don't think trading him is like a possibility. I know he hasn't played in a while. Would you sign Geno Atkins? Hasn't he been out of the league for like 3 years? He's probably got like a beer belly. Any new news on Joe Burrow? Apparently, it's not that bad, but we don't know for sure yet. I think Lockett will retire a Seahawk as well, but the cliff is coming for that guy. There's no way he can be this good forever, man. The way he gets his yards, it's crazy. If Witherspoon moves to the slot and Jamal comes back, where would Love play? Love would play on 3 safety sets. Remember, we're supposed to be using 3-3-5 a lot this year. Hey, Herbicide, what's up? Isn't he on the Atkins diet? He'd have to get on some kind of diet if he wants to be ready for the regular season. You think this is Bobby's final year in the league? I kind of do, Staniel. Yeah. Yeah, Burrow's okay, I think. Elu, Taylor, Mike Jackson's first for Chris Jones. That's not bad. I don't know what we would do at left guard, though. We're kind of screwed at left guard if we do that, aren't we? And by the way, I don't know if he's here right now, but thank you to John for all your support over the slow part of the off season. If you're out there, you know who I'm talking to. I don't want to say anything more, but thank you, John. I am seeing all the support you're sending during the slow months of the off season, and I appreciate it. What players other than Chris Jones do you think are possible trades? At this point, not that many. I can't really think of anything else. Like, I don't want Chase Young really anymore, so not him. How much does the ceiling raise if Cam Young ends up being an above average D lineman? I think that's actually a big deal if he can be above average, but I'm not expecting that. Have you ever used Fanso, a trade machine? I've seen it. It looks pretty bad. It's supposed trying to be like the ESPN trade machine for basketball, but I don't think it's capturing the right things. I don't think it's anywhere close to accurate. Maybe Buckner, but again, the Colts restructured him a little bit. So that indicates to me they're planning on keeping him. I don't know why they would change their plan after the restructure. Draymond Jones over under 10 sacks. I went under because he's going to be racing to the quarterback with a lot of edge rushers. We have a very deep edge rusher stable. Yeah, right, guy. I saw Oppenheimer yesterday, actually. Gino said it's bittersweet that Locke is back because he knows Locke is a starter. Well, he's not. I can't imagine what it would take for Gino to lose his starting job right now, but it would take a lot. Hey, Gino. Hey, Green Earth, what's up? Yeah, I don't think Buckner's really a candidate to be traded, but it's possible. Would you like a Dunlap reunion? I don't think Dunlap fits this. Dunlap doesn't fit this defense. Dunlap's a 4-3 edge. I mean, if you're going to trade for somebody, you need to be sure that he's significantly better than Shelby Harris because you don't have to trade for Shelby Harris. You just sign him. So if you're going to trade for somebody who's no better than Shelby Harris, then why do that? You've got like 5 Shelby Harris level defensive linemen out there. Even if, let's say Shelby's mad at the team and doesn't want to come back, then you just go out and get Matt Ioannidis instead or something like that. I think Sue's a free agent, Snail, but I don't want Sue. I don't like Sue. I don't really want him on my team. I mean, Gino was a top 10 QB last year. Why would he be worse? What has happened that would make him worse? The Commanders released Andrew Norwell, a guard. Would you like to sign him? Is he a left guard or a right guard? And also, I'd want to know why the Commanders released him, but that's not bad. Yeah, we released Tavai. I think he got hurt. Maybe since rookie minicamp and before training camp, he got hurt. And maybe we released him because of that. I don't know. Oh. Yannick hasn't signed yet because he's terrible against the run. Near as I can tell, like he's a really bad run defender. So that kind of kills his value. He's like Daryl Taylor, except he probably wants to get paid massive money. Do you think there's any chance Seahawks are looking into Devin White? No, I think we already made our moves at middle linebacker. And Devin White would need to get paid, and I don't think we have the money for it. Now, Justin Houston doesn't really make much sense to me. Oh, by the way, the ticker hasn't counted all of them, but we are up to 13,620 subs. So thank you, everybody. We are moving along here. Yeah, I like Tavai. Maybe he got hurt off the field, like outside of football related stuff, and we just have to dump him now because he's not going to be able to practice. Do you want Penix next year? Maybe. I'm not in love with it, but maybe. Brendan, you should do some videos looking at tape. One time I tried to do a stream where I looked at tape and YouTube just shut it down. Like they didn't even let me run it without ads. They just like completely blacked out the screen. Yes, Michael Slicker, exactly that. I don't want Sue because he's a. I don't want to root for that guy. RT Chris Hubbard signing with Titans. I don't even know who Chris Hubbard right tackle is. Just get Cam Ward 2 rounds later. They're both projects. Yeah, I like Cam Ward. I really do like Cam Ward. I don't know if I like him enough to think he'll be a starter in the NFL, but he's got a chance. Oh, Yannick signed with the Bears. Okay. Okay. He went to a team that was the worst team in the league last year. That's how low his profile is right now. People are not high on Ngakwe. I think that's how you pronounce it. Ngakwe. He's a disaster against the run. Norwell can play both, and he failed physical. I mean, it's not necessarily like a dire need, but it's not a bad idea. I've heard of worse. I don't hate it. You still like Will Levis? Yeah, I'm a believer in Will Levis. I didn't really want him by the time we got to the draft, but I believe that he will be good. You should try to get a media pass for press conferences. I don't think that would end well, Jack. Oh, Yannick didn't sign yet. Okay. Not sure Norwell is that much better than Phil Haynes to that point where it's worth it. He's fallen pretty far then. There are a lot of good quarterbacks in the upcoming draft. I don't know if I feel the need to like skim the bottom of the river here. Um, if you want a sleeper quarterback, I think the guy might actually be Van Dyke in Miami, because he's got Cristobal coaching him, and Cristobal's going to make him look not very good. But that doesn't mean he's actually bad. Like a lot of people, myself included, thought Herbert was going to be terrible because of Cristobal. So Van Dyke is kind of the interesting guy to me, who might actually be like a 5th round pick. Are the Bucks rebuilding or tanking this year? Well, they already restructured Vita Vea, so the Bucks can't really trade him, but I do think they are going to be a bad team this year. Positions of need in the draft next year: quarterback, interior offensive line, defensive line, middle linebacker, mainly that. Not necessarily Danny Boy. Yeah, I don't have a big issue. I don't dislike the Eagles at all. In fact, I've been friends with a lot of Eagles fans over the years. So I don't mind when the Eagles do well, generally speaking. And I like Eagles fans. I don't understand. Like, if you go to see, like, I'm friends with a guy at work who has Seahawks season tickets. So he basically gets to exposure with every other fan base because he goes to Seahawks games, pretty much every home game, and gets to meet up with a lot of fans of opposing teams. And he actually is like, yeah, Eagles fans, they go hard, but it's all in good fun, and they're really smart. He said he insists that the worst fans by far are Packers fans. They didn't throw batteries at a player; they threw batteries at a Santa Claus, I think. Right? They threw batteries at Santa Claus. No, the Bills fans throw dildos on the field, Yeti. I mean, no, it's not better, but I think it was like in the 70s or something. I don't mind Eagles fans. I really don't. According to most people I know who go to Seahawks games, the worst fans by far are Packers fans. No, Mask, I think they've kind of forgotten about that. I don't think. And by the way, Clowney, like that was a freak accident. By the way, things were moving way too fast for anybody to say that Clowney was trying to knock Wentz out of the game. That's goofy. Yeah, Niners fans. I mean, I don't like Niners fans, but saying that is kind of like, well, duh, right? Like that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Brendan, report DK still having drop issues in camp. Well, DK's always going to drop the occasional pass. DK's always going to drop the occasional pass. It's really not that big of a deal. I'm really not worried. He's never going to have elite hands. He's just not. So, people out there who are waiting for it to happen, it's not going to happen. That's going to be a thing that holds him back, but it's really not going to hold him back that much. It's not a huge problem the way it was for a guy like Daryl Jackson. I don't know if any of you guys remember Daryl Jackson. That was a guy who dropped way too many passes. Man. There are some interesting linebackers in free agency. Are any of them better than Devin Bush? I think DK had like 6 drops last year. If you think 6 drops over 17 games is unacceptable, then I think you need to turn it down a little bit. Spotrack has Ngakwe 4 for 59. There's no way he's going to get that. He'll be lucky to be on a team. I saw that falsus. So either Lockett is going to get ranked way too high, or there are no more Seahawks on the top 100. Because there's nobody else who could possibly make the top 100. How confident are you in our O line from 1 to 10? Well, how are we scaling things? Is 10 best in the league and 1 worst in the league? If so, then like a 5. What would it take financially to get Chris Jones? Do we need to possibly release Jamal next offseason to fit Jones's $30 million in? You would have to extend him and backload the contract, and then you'd probably need to do something like restructure Will Disley. I think Lockett, by the way, had like 4 or 5 drops last year. So DK had like 1 or 2 more drops than Lockett. Is that really a big deal? Like, make it make sense. Is Walker confirmed to not be on? I feel like he has a better chance than Lockett. What do you mean, Connor? Oh, the top 100. I don't think Walker gets on. Gino was 77. Yeah, Pat Sertan's better than Sauce. Sertan's probably the best cornerback in the league right now. Who is the highest ranked running back so far on the top 100? I haven't been keeping up with it really closely, but what running backs have they ranked, if any? I'm assuming they must have ranked some. You like Jared Goff over Geno in the top 100? I mean, I don't agree with it, but I guess the logic is that Goff has been good for years and Geno's only had one good year. What do you think Walker contract would be after his rookie contract is over? That's really hard to project. We have to see where he is. Like, has he been healthy over his rookie deal? Never really thought about that. The truth is, I know it, but that's not a bad idea. What's the next game I'm buying? Well, the next new game that I'm buying, like game that's coming out, is going to be probably Spider-Man 2, but that's going to be a couple months away. So, if you're talking about in general, I've had this weird desire to play a casino manager or casino tycoon type game. I know there are a few out there. I need to figure out which one. But I was watching Casino, the Scorsese movie, and it made me want to manage a casino. So I'm going to probably look for like a casino tycoon game. I got Lego Star Wars recently. That was pretty fun. I like that one. I played a co-op. Last time I went to a Seahawks game was actually the NFC Championship game against the Packers. No, I have not done Diablo 4 yet. I've not done Diablo 4 yet. I'm going to co-op that with my friend, but he hasn't had time yet. Oppenheimer or Barbie? I already saw Oppenheimer yesterday. When are you going to stream Minecraft? When I get the time to. I'm planning on it because the second half of the year doesn't have many big releases. I'm very low on Lamar. Yeah, I'm not a big Lamar guy. I don't know what the point is. I did go to the first ever Seattle Sea Dragons home game. I did. Which was the only game we won. No, wait. It wasn't a Sea Dragons game. It was a Dragons game. I went to the Seattle Dragons' first ever home game, which was the only game we won before the league shut down. I did not go to a Sea Dragons game yet, though, but I went to the Dragons game. Who you thought was the best running back out of 2020? Who were the running backs in 2020? That was like the Jonathan Taylor year, right? I really liked Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm really shocked he's so bad. So it's been almost 10 years. It is such a pain for me to get up to Seattle, I'll be honest, Nathan. Like it is a pain for me to get up to Seattle. I do it very rarely. What do you think of Oppenheimer? It's good. It's good. It's compelling. I don't think it's anything too over the top spectacular, but they do a good job. It's good. Well, the thing with the Lions is they're not going to have Jamison Williams in that game because he's suspended. I think that's kind of a big deal. Favorite prospect in last year's draft? Aiden Hutchinson, probably, or Aiden, or however you pronounce it. Aiden Hutchinson. I thought he was the best. So hopefully the writer's strike doesn't delay all the movies later this year because there are actually like three really, really good looking movies later this year that I really want to see. Remnant 2, I've not heard of that one. Yeah, Gardner's going to be playing, but at least I think Gardner's going to play. Preseason games start in 2 weeks. Yes, they do. There's some shows that are being postponed because of the strike. Yeah. Just get Chat GPT to write, man. Do you think an undrafted free agent will make the 53 roster? I think Chris Stoll will. A deer took out my motorcycle last weekend. How did that happen? Did you crash the motorcycle into the deer, or did the deer like steal the motorcycle, or what? Are you surprised Kareem Hunt is still a free agent? No, he's a running back. I mean, Dalvin Cook's still a free agent. The games in the second half of the year that I'm planning on playing are Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Starfield, and that one I'm kind of torn on. And then, other than that, I'm not so sure. The deer hit me as it was crossing the highway. Huh. And you didn't die. Okay. That's good. You remember the scene in Goodfellas where they kill Billy Bats and put him in the trunk of the car, and then they go see Tommy's mom, and they're like, "Oh, we hit a deer," and then they take one of her knives, and they say like, "Oh, his hoof got stuck in the grill. We gotta like cut it out." Remember that? Never hit an animal, I don't think. Maybe I've run over like a squirrel or something. Yeah, I know, Austin. You know, I remember when we drafted Lockett, I was watching some stuff on YouTube about people talking about what Lockett was going to be for us. I watched one video and somebody was like, I think this guy's like Antonio Brown. And I was like, man, that is really high praise because Antonio Brown at the time was the best receiver in the league, but it ended up kind of panning out. The mom is the best part in that scene. Yeah. Isn't Scorsese's mom in like all of his movies, basically? Because I know she's in Casino. Did you play Red Dead 2? Yes, I did, Jack. Back when it came out. I streamed it, but nobody watched me back then. I was streaming on Twitch to like two people. And only one of them ever said anything. I don't know who the other guy was. Maybe it was me. What positions are you most interested in signing with the Seahawks? I mean, I think the only thing that makes any sense right now is the defensive line. My dad had a horse walk in front of his Honda Civic and it sat on his hood. Would you have wanted the Seahawks to draft Sertan if they had a top 5 pick in the 2020 draft? Hold on. 2020 NFL draft. Joe Burrow, Chase Young, Jeff Okuda, Andrew Thomas. Okay, so Burrow, Chase Young, Andrew Thomas, Herbert. Wait, he wasn't in the 2020 draft. He was in the 2021 draft. Yeah. Okay, 2021 draft. Okay. Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Kitts, Chase. Probably not. Close, but probably not. Oh, and by the way, guys, just to let you guys know, after this stream is over, and it's going to be over in a little bit here, I think we've talked about everything that needs to be talked about. I will be streaming on Twitch. We're going to be working through the end of Final Fantasy 16. So if you want to see that, follow me on Twitch. Link in the description of the stream. Yeah, Sewell was there. Micah Parsons was there. Although I didn't like Parsons because I didn't know he could rush the passer. Kyle Pitts, Trevor Lawrence. I was a Zach Wilson fan. I thought Zach Wilson would be good. That was a disaster. Jamar Chase was obviously incredible. Like, I don't think I would have put him in the top 5. Do you have a game on here? I used to, but people complained. People complained and they were like, I only care about Seahawks stuff. I don't want to see video games. I don't care about video games. Get this out of here. So I moved. And I may be moving to another site soon too because Twitch is heading in the wrong direction. No, Nathan. I don't think we're bringing back Alton Robinson. All right, guys. Give me a few minutes. I'll step away for a few minutes here. I'll be right back, and then we'll go ahead and wind the stream down. See you guys soon. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. We did get a member message has gone, hey, Brendan, you excited for the coming month? You think Evan Brown starts all year or Olu gets there at the end? One of my favorite draft picks. I feel like Evan Brown starts the whole year, honestly. I like Evan Brown. I think he's a little bit better than some people are giving him credit for. No, I have not watched Starfield Directs, Daniel. Honestly, I'm not even sure if I'm that hyped for it. I'm probably going to play it because everyone's going to be playing it, but I'm aware of the fact that the game is probably going to be terrible at first because it's a Bethesda game and it just kind of is what it is. It being bad is arguably part of the fun. Vinny Curry retired. I remember Vinny Curry. Do you think Broncos will make the playoffs with Sean Payton? Probably not. Their division's really difficult. Although, at least the Raiders kind of took themselves out of it, right? Finding a way to downgrade a quarterback, which is not easy to do when you're starting from Derek Carr. Oh, we picked up another sub, by the way, while I was gone, so thank you to whoever subbed up. Yeah, Jaron Reed at nose tackle. A couple different ways to read that one. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. Oh, man. Like, it's not a terrible way to resolve the issue, but it's not really a good way, is it? Oh, Nathan, is he going to be out 4 to 6 weeks from now or 4 to 6 weeks once the season starts? Yeah, Austin. There were other reasons too. Now? Okay. Then the injury's not that big of a deal. Man, they bring out the card for everything now. Back in the day, they only brought out the card if you were going to be out for the year. Yeah, I think Draymond Jones is going to be good. There's no reason to believe otherwise. Yeah, Connor, it's like contradictory information, man. I've heard like either way with him too. All right, guys. I think we're going to go ahead and that's going to be the end of the show. We went for about an hour 15. We talked about some good stuff, had some fun, back on the wagon. We're going to do this again in the near future. Hawks Nest shows are going to start again soon, by the way. For those of you who may be wondering, thank you to everybody who came out tonight. We'll do this again soon. Catch me on Twitch a little later tonight. I'll probably start sometime around like 9:15 or something. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for supporting. And thank you for participating. See you guys in the near future. Go Hawks. And yeah, good to be back in the wagon. Week away from the first preseason